Okay, we will we will be reading through Genesis story to Genesis 32, and we're about how about Rachel and Leah and them, and how Jacob flees from the man, and how Jacob gonna prepare his meeting with Esau. Now for that, we will read the notes. Okay, let's read. Genesis story. When Rachel saw that she was not bearing Jacob any children, she became jealous of her sister. So she said to Jacob, "Give me children, or I'll die." Jacob became angry with her and said, Am I in the place of God who has kept you from having children? Then she said, "Here is Bahir, my servant. Sleep with her so that she can bear children for me, and I too can build a family through her." So she gave him her servant Bahir as a wife. Jacob slept with her, and she became pregnant and bore him a son. And Rachel said, "God has vindicated me. He has listened to my plea and given me a son. Because of this, she named him Dan." Rachel's servant Billy had convinced again and bore Jacob a second son. Then Rachel said, "I have had a great struggle with my sister, and I have won." So she named him Naphtali. When Leah saw that she had stopped having children, she took her servant Zilpah and gave her to Jacob as a wife. Leah's servant Zilpah bore Jacob a son. Then Leah said, "What good fortune!" So she named him Gad. G-A-D, Gad. Leah's servant Zilpah bore Jacob a second son, and Leah said, "How happy I am! The woman will call me happy." So she named him Asher. During wheat harvest, William went out into the fields and found some mandrake plants, which he brought to his mother Leah. Rachel said to Leah, "Please give me some of your son's mandrakes." But she said to her, "Wasn't it enough that you took away my husband? Will you take my son's mandrakes too?" "Very well," Rachel said. "He can sleep with you tonight in return for your son's mandrakes." So when Jacob came in from the fields that evening, Leah went out to meet him. "You must sleep with me," she said. "I have hired you with my son's mandrakes." So he slept with her that night. God listened to Leah, and she became pregnant and bore Jacob a fifth son. And Leah said, "God has rewarded me for giving my servant to my husband." So she named him Isaac. Leah convinced again and bore Jacob a sixth one. Then Leah said, "God has presented me with a previous gift. This time my husband will treat me with honor because I have borne him 6 sons." So she named him Zebulun. Sometime later, she gave birth to a daughter and named her Dinah. Then God remembered Rachel. He listened to her and enabled her to convince. She became pregnant and gave birth to a son and said, "God has taken away my disgrace." She named him Jasper, and said, "May the Lord add to me another son." Jacob's flocks increased. After Rachel gave birth to Jasper, Jacob said to Laban, Send me on my way so I can go back to my own homeland. Give me my wives and children for whom I have served you, and I will be on my way. You know how much work I have done for you. But Laban said to him, If I have found favor in your eyes, please say I have learned my divination, that the Lord has blessed me because of you. He added, Name your wages, and I will pay them. Jacob said to him, You know how I have worked for you, and how your livestock has fell under my care. The little you had before I came has increased greatly, and the Lord has blessed you wherever I have been. But now when may I do something for my own household? What shall I give you? He asked. Don't give me anything, Jacob replied. But if you will do this one thing for me, I will go on tending your flocks and watching over them. Let me go through all your flocks today and remove from them every sack-laid or spotted sheep, every dark-colored lamb, and every spotted or speckled goat. They will be my wages, and my honesty will testify for me in the future. Whenever you check on the wages you have paid me, any goat in my possession that is not speckled or spotted, or any lamb that is not dark-colored will be considered stolen. Agreed, said Laban. Let it be as you have said. That same day he removed all the male goats that were speckled or spotted, and all the speckled or spotted female goats, all that have white on them, and all the dark-colored lambs, and he placed them in the care of his sons, and he put a 3-day journey between himself and Jacob, while Jacob continued to tend the rest of Laban's flocks. Jacob, however, took flesh, cut branches from poplar, almond, and plane trees, and made white straps on them by peeling the bark and exposing the white inner wood of the branches. And he placed the peeled branches in all the watering troughs, so that they would be directly in front of the flocks when they came to drink. When the flocks were in heat and came to drink, they matted in front of the branches, and they bore young that were staked or speckled or spotted. Jacob set apart the young of the flock by themselves, but made the rest faces, speckled and dark-colored animals that belonged to Laban. Those he made separate flocks for himself, and did not put them with Laban's animals. Whenever the strongest females were in the heat, Jacob would place the branches in the troughs in front of the animals, so they would mate near the branches. But if the animals were weak, he would not place them there. So the weak animals went to Laban, and the strong ones to Jacob. In this way, the man grew extremely prosperous and came to own large flocks and female and male servants, and camels and donkeys. Genesis 31. Jacob flees from Laban. Jacob heard that Laban's sons were saying, Jacob has taken everything our father owned and has gained all this wealth from what belonged to our father. And Jacob noticed that Laban's attitude toward him was not what it had been. Then the Lord said to Jacob, Go back to the land of your fathers and to your relatives, and I will be with you. So Jacob sent word to Rachel and Leah to come out to the fields where his flocks were. He said to them, I see that your father's attitude toward me is not what it was before, but the God of my father has been with me. You know that I've worked for your father with all my strength. Yet your father has cheated me by changing my wages 10 times. However, God has not allowed him to harm me. If he said the speckled ones will be your wages, will be your wages, and all the flocks bore straight young, so God has taken away your father's livestock and has given them to me. Goats marching and the flock were striped, speckled or spotted. The angel of God said to me in the dream, Jacob, I answered, Here I am. And he said, Look up and see that all the male goats mating with the flock are streaked, speckled, or spotted, for I have seen all that Laban has been doing to you. I am the God of Bethel. Will you announce a pillar, and will you make a vote to me? Now leave this land at once and go back to your native land. And Rachel and Leah replied, Do we still have any share in the inheritance of our fathers in state? Does he not regard us as prisoners? Not only has he sold us, but he has used up what was paid for us. Surely all the wealth that God took away from our father belongs to us and our children. So do whatever God has told you. Then Jacob put his children and his wives on camels, and he drove all his livestock ahead of him, along with all the goods he had accomplished in Padan Aram, to go to his father Isaac in the land of Canaan. When the man had gone to shear his sheep, Rachel stole her father's household gods. Moreover, Jacob deceived Laban by not telling him he was running away. So he fled with all he had, crossed Waits River, and headed for the hill country of Gilead. Genesis, Laban pursues Jacob. On the third day, Laban was told that Jacob had fled, taking his relatives with him. He pursued Jacob for 7 years and caught up with him in the hill country of Gilead. And God came to Laban in a dream at night and said to him, Be careful not to say anything to Jacob, either good or bad. Jacob had pitched his tent in the hill country of Gilead when Laban overtook him. And Laban and his relatives camped there too. Then Laban said to Jacob, What have you done? You've deceived me, and you've carried off my daughters like captives in war. Why did you run off secretly and deceive me? Why didn't you tell me so I could send you away with joy and singing to the music of timbrels and harps? You didn't even let me kiss my grandchildren and my daughters goodbye. You have done a foolish thing. I have the power to harm you, but last night the God of your father said to me, be careful not to say anything to Jacob, either good or bad. Now you have gone off because you long to return to your father's household. But why did you steal my gods? Jacob answered, Laban, I was afraid because I thought you would take your daughters away from me by force. But if you find anyone who has your gods, that person shall not live in the presence of our relatives. See for yourself whether there is anything of yours here with me, and if so, take it. Now Jacob did not know that Rachel had stolen the gods. So Laban went into Jacob's tent and into Leah's tent and into the tent of the two female servants, but he found nothing. After he came out of Leah's tent, he entered Rachel's tent. Now Rachel had taken the household gods and put them inside her camel saddle and was sitting on them. The man searched through everything in the tent but found nothing. Rachel said to her father, Don't be angry, my lord, that I cannot stand up in your presence. I'm having my period. So he searched but could not find the household gods. Jacob was angry and took Laban to task. What is my crime? He asked Laban. How have I wronged you that you hunt me down? Now that you have searched through all my goods, what have you found that belongs to your household? Put it here in front of your relatives and mine, and let them judge between the two of us. I have been with you for 20 years now. Your sheep and goats have not miscarried, nor have I eaten lambs from your flocks. I did not bring you animals torn by wild beasts. I bore the loss myself, and you demanded payment from me for whatever was stolen by day or night. This was my situation. The heat consumed me in the daytime, and the cold at night, and sleep fell from my eyes. It was like this for the 20 years I was in your household. I worked for you 14 years for your 2 daughters and 6 years for your flocks. You changed my wages 10 times. If the God of my father, the God of Abraham, and the fear of Isaac had not been with me, you would surely have sent me away empty-handed. But God has seen my hardship and the toil of my hands, and last night he rebuked you. Laban answered Jacob, The women are my daughters, the children are my children, and the flocks are my flocks. All you see is mine. Yet what can I do today about these daughters of mine, or about the children they have borne? Come now, let's make a covenant, you and I, and let it serve as a witness between us. So Jacob took a stone and set it as a pillar. He said to his relatives, "Gather some stones." So they took stones and piled them in a hoop, and they are there by the hope. The man called it Jugal, Showadurhal, and Jacob called it Gilead. The man said, "This harp is a witness between you and me today." That is why it was called Gilead. It was also called Mizpah, because he said, "May the Lord keep watch between you and me when we are away from each other. If you mistreat my daughters, or if you take any wives besides my daughters, even though no one is with us, remember that God is a witness between you and me." The man also said to Jacob, "Here is this hope, and here is this pillar I have set up between you and me. This harp is a witness, and this pillar is a witness that I will not go past this harp to your side to harm you, and that you will not go past this harp and pillar to my side to harm me. May the God of Abraham, and the God of Nehu, the God of their father, judge between us." So Jacob took an oath in the name of the field of his father Isaac. He offered sacrifice there in the hill country and invited his relatives to a meal. After they had eaten, they spent the night there. The next morning, the man kissed his grandchildren and his daughters and blessed them. Then he left and returned home. Genesis 32. Jacob prepares to meet Esau. Jacob also went on his way, and the angels of God met him. When Jacob saw them, he said, "This is the camp of God." So he named that place Mahanaim. Jacob sent messengers ahead of him to his brother Esau in the land of Seir, the country of Edom. He instructed them, "This is what you are to say to my lord Esau. Your servant Jacob says, I have been staying with Laban and have remained there till now. I have cattle and donkeys, sheep and goats, male and female servants. Now I am sending this message to my lord, that I may find favor in your eyes." When the messengers returned to Jacob, they said, "We went to your brother Esau, and now he is coming to meet you, and 400 men are with him." In great fear and distress, Jacob divided the people who were with him into two groups, and the flocks and the herds and camels as well. He thought, if Esau comes and attacks one group, the group that is left may escape. Then Jacob prayed, "O God of my father Abraham, God of my father Isaac, Lord, prosper. I am unworthy of all the kindness and faithfulness you have shown your servants. I had only my staff when I crossed this Jordan, but now I have become two camps. Save me, I pray, from the hand of my brother Esau, for I am afraid he will come and attack me, and also the mothers with their children. But you have said it, I will surely make you prosper, and will make your descendants like the sand of the sea, which cannot be counted." He spent the night there, and from what he had with him, he selected a gift for his brother Esau. 200 female goats and 20 male goats, 200 ewes and 20 rams, 30 female camels with their young 40 cows, and 10 bulls, and 20 female donkeys, and 10 male donkeys. He put them in the care of his servants, each herd by itself, and said to his servants, "Go ahead of me and keep some space between the herds." He instructed the one in the lead, "When my brother Esau meets you and asks, 'Who do you belong to, and where are you going, and who owns all these animals in front of you?' then you are to say, 'They belong to your servant Jacob. They are a gift sent to my lord Esau, and he's coming behind us.'" He also instructed the second, the third, and all the others who followed the herds. "You are to say the same thing to Esau when you meet him, and be sure to say, 'Your servant Jacob is coming behind us, for he thought, I will purify him with these gifts I am sending on ahead. Later, when I see him, perhaps he will receive me.' So Jacob's gifts went on ahead of him, but he himself spent the night in the camp. Jacob wrestled with God. That night Jacob got up and took his 2 wives, his 2 female servants, and his 11 sons, and crossed the ford of the Jabbok. After he had sent them across the stream, he sent over all his possessions. So Jacob was left alone, and the man wrestled with him till daybreak. When the man saw that he could not overpower him, he touched the socket of Jacob's hip, so that his hip was wrenched as he wrestled with the man. Then the man said, "Let me go, for it is daybreak." But Jacob replied, "I will not let you go unless you bless me." The man asked him, "What is your name?" "Jacob," he answered. Then the man said, "Your name will no longer be Jacob, but Israel, because you have struggled with God and with humans and have overcome." Jacob said, "Please tell me your name." But he replied, "Why do you ask my name?" And he blessed him there. So Jacob called the place Peniel, saying, "It is because I saw God face to face, and yet my life has spared." The sun rose above him as he passed Peniel. The sun rose above him as he passed Peniel, and he was leaping because of his heap. Therefore, to this day, the Israelites do not eat the tendon attached to the socket of the hip, because the socket of Jacob's hip was just near the tendon. Dear God the Father, I am thankful for this reading to come. And I hope these people who are watching have learned something new, that we learn that you God have wrestled with Jacob. Wrestled with Jacob and teach us how did Jacob flee from the man, and how Jacob prepare to meet Esau once again. In the name of Jesus, amen. In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit, amen. That's random. That's fine. Genesis, Genesis 30 verse 3. And now what we just read is to we just read about Rachel and Leah and how Jacob flee from Laban and how Jacob is about to meet Esau and how Jacob have wrestled with God. So let's see if the notes have anything to say about this. Genesis 30 verse 3. Each of these great prodigals, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, had wives who had difficulty conceiving children. It is interesting to know how each man reacted to his wife pregnant. Abraham had relations with Sarah's servant in order to have his own child, thus inducing bitterness and jealousy into his family. Isaac, by contrast, prayed to God when his wife was barren. God intentionally answered his prayers, and Rebekah had twin sons. Jacob, however, followed his grandfather's example and had children by his wives, servants, leading to sad and sometimes bitter consequences. Genesis 30 verse 4 through 13. Rachel and Leah were locked in a cruel contest in their race to have more children and status in their clan. They both gave their servants to Jacob as concubines. Jacob would have been wise to refuse even through this was an accepted custom of the day. The fact that a custom is socially accepted does not mean it is wise or right. You will be spared much heartbreak if you look at the potential consequences for you or others of your actions. Are you doing anything now that might cause future problems? Genesis 30 verse 22 through 24. Even intentionally, God answered Rachel's prayers and gave her a child of her own. In the meantime, however, she had given her servant to Jacob as a Cuban, trusting God when nothing seems to happen is difficult, but it is harder still to live with the consequence of taking matters into your own hands. Resist the temptation to think God has forgotten you. Have patience and courage to wait for courage to wait for God to act. Genesis 30 verse 37 through 43. It is unclear that this method was or how it worked. Some say that there was a belief among husbands in varying impressions at mating. Time influenced the offspring, most likely the selective breeding and God's promise of provision were the main reason that Jacob's flocks increased. Genesis 31 verse 1 through 2. Jacob's wealth made Laban's sons jealous. It is sometimes difficult to be happy when others are doing it better than we are. To compare our success with that of others is a dangerous way to judge the quality of our lives. By comparing ourselves to others, we may be giving jealousy a foothold. We can avoid jealousy by rejoicing in others' successes. See Romans 12, verse 15. Genesis 31. Also, guys, you should not be jealous of seeing people who are better than you or have more money of you. Don't be jealous of that, and don't judge them, because we are not allowed to judge, but we are allowed to judge people's actions, but not by don't judge by their but don't judge them by their heart. Okay? And don't be jealous of them being better than you. Because that is just, like, there's no reason to be jealous of that. Like, no reason. Genesis 31 verse 4 through 13. Although Laban treated Jacob unfairly, God still increased Jacob's prosperity. God's power is not limited by lack of fair play. He has the ability to meet our needs and make us thrive, even though others mistreat us. To give in return is to be no different from your enemies. Genesis 31 verse 14 through 15. Leaving home was not difficult for Rachel and Leah, because their father had treated them as poorly as he had Jacob. According to custom, they were supposed to receive the benefits of the bride price Jacob paid for them, which was 14 years of hard work. When Laban did not give them what was rightfully theirs, they knew they would never intend anything from their father, though they wholeheartedly approved of Jacob's plan to take the wealth he had gained in leave. Genesis 31 verse 19. Many people kept small wooden or metal idols in their homes. These idols were called champion, and they were thought to protect their home and offer advice in times of need. They had legal significance as well, for when they were passed on to an heir, the person who received them could rightfully claim the greatest part of the family inheritance. No wonder the man was concerned when he realized his idols were missing. Genesis 31 verse 3. Most likely Rachel stole her father's idols because she was afraid the man would consult them and learn where she and Jacob had gone, or perhaps she wanted to claim the family inheritance. Remember, idols are just like sleepy gods that can't be awakened. And if you don't believe that, then you go into the wrong path yourself. Because if a man creates a god and starts praying to it, does that god speak to him or no? Well, the man, after he was done praying, gets no answer from the God he just created. That's it. Because that idol was just fake. I don't want to say, oh, what if? Just don't say out really that much, but of like what ifs or whatever. But remember, worship God the Father always. Worship Him only. Don't just make Him jealous, but just worship his Son and God the Father and the Holy Spirit. Genesis 31 verse 32. Can you remember feeling anxious about something? Jacob was so sure that no one had stolen Laban's idols that he vowed to let the offering be killed because Rachel took them. The statement put her safely in serious jeopardy, even when you are absolutely sure about matter of rash statements. Someone may hold you to them. Genesis 31 verse 38 through 42. Jacob made a habit to do more than was expected of him. When his flocks were attacked, he took the losses rather than splashing them with the man. He worked hard even after several pay cuts. His diligence, Genesis eventually pay off. His flocks began to multiply, making a habit of doing more than expected can pay off. It one pleases God, 2 earns recognition and advancement, 3 enhances your reputation, 4 builds others confidence in you, 5 gives you more experience and knowledge, and 6 develops your spiritual maturity. Genesis 31 verse 49. To be blinding and agreement had to be witnessed by a third party. In this case, Jacob and Laban used God as their witnesses that they would keep their word. Genesis 32 verse 1. Why did the angels of God meet Jacob? Angels intervene in human situations many times throughout the Bible. Also, angels would sometimes appear in human form. These angels must have looked different, for Jacob recognized them at once. The reason these angels met Jacob is unclear, but because of their visit, Jacob knew God was with him. Genesis 32 verse 3. The last time Jacob had seen Esau, his older brother, had been ready to kill him for stealing the family blessing. Genesis 25 verse 29 through Genesis 27 verse 42. Esau was so angry that he had planned to kill Jacob as soon as their father Isaac died. Genesis 27 verse 41. Fearing their reunion, Jacob sent a messenger ahead with gifts. He hoped to buy Esau's favor. Genesis 32 verse 9 through 12. How would you feel if you knew you were about to meet the person you had cheated out of his most purest possession? Jacob had taken Esau's birthright, Genesis 25 verse 33, and his blessing, Genesis 27 verse 27 through 40. Now he was about to meet this brother for the first time in 20 years, and he was frantic with fear. He collected his thoughts, however, and decided to pray. When we face a difficult conflict, we can run about frantically, or we can pause to pray. Which approach will be more effective? Genesis 32 verse 26. Jacob continued this wrestling match all night just to be blessed. He was positioned resilient. God encourages presence in all areas of our lives, including spiritual. Where in your spiritual life do you need more presence, strong character develops as you struggle through tough conditions? Or some people think they are wrestling with God or not, just like Jacob, who have wrestled with God. Because some people struggle to be with God, like always or not always, and feel like they are wrestling with God the Father. Genesis 32, verse 27 through 29. God gave many Bible people new names: Abraham, Sarah, Peter. Their new names were symbols of how God had changed their lives. Here, we see how Jacob's character had changed. Jacob, the ambitious deceiver, became Israel, the one perfectly clinging to God. He was learning to live in an ongoing relationship with the God who would fight for him. Yep, always fight for the glory of God. Always fight for His glory. And don't be, I will say once again, don't be afraid to approach God or be jealous of someone being better than you, or be angry at someone who have taken something from you and want revenge on them. Don't take revenge on them or what, because it is not good to take revenge on someone who have taken the thing that is appointed to you to have. So don't do that a lot, and don't be angry or don't let your anger and don't let your anger to be murdering someone, I think, or want to kill someone. Don't let that anger go, but control that anger and have patience. Always have patience. Because some people don't have patience. Some people just don't have patience. Some people are impatient of the things they have done, but be patient of the things you've done and wait patiently for them. So, God bless you guys, and I hope you will be something. I hope you will be something different. I hope you will learn something new from this Bible. Or you knew from this, but if you like this video, then consider liking or subscribing. And I'm okay if subscribers subscribe me or like me, but see you later. See you next time.